Hello. I'm Dr. Guy. Basically, I've got this problem. You see, I've got this YouTube channel, and I'm trying to show these people with their near-death experiences, and I think some of the strongest support of this phenomena is the individuals themselves. As a psychiatrist, I've interviewed a lot of them, over 100 of them actually, and I'm pretty impressed with their stories. But every time, only a small fraction of the stories I record actually make it on my YouTube channel. YouTube kind of yanks them a lot. And so I'm going to try some creative ways of getting the content onto my YouTube channel without totally violating the copyright thing. So what I'm doing is I'm adding extra footage to the clips, and by adding my own footage, I'm hoping that they'll let me keep the content on the programs that I put on my YouTube channel. So anyway, I brought my flat screen TV out here in my backyard so that I can show you my YouTube stuff. Okay, so these are basically clips from I Survived Beyond and Back. And hopefully, with the extra material here, they'll allow me to keep it on the channel. So here goes.
On the third episode of a heart attack is when I literally died. In a blink of an eye, I was in an area that I was totally unfamiliar with. I'm standing and I'm thinking, like, where am I? What am I doing here? I knew I was up on a mountain. I knew I was high. I couldn't even say how high I was, but I was high. And standing in front of a man who was sitting on the edge of some rocks. The whole image of that man is just engraved or emblazed in my brain, in my mind. The first thing I noticed is that he was an olive-skinned guy. His eyes, he had dark brown, real dark brown eyes, grayish brown hair, not real long, shoulder length. I could feel my feet getting hot. Not hot like, someone's torching me, but I could feel my feet were hot, and there was some sand on this rocky ledge. I could hear this man, and he's telling me, and he's speaking, not in English, he's speaking in either Aramaic or Hebrew, either one. And he was telling me, wiggle my feet in the sand, and it won't be hot. And sure enough, that's what I did. I looked down, I could see my feet. I could actually see the gown. I had a gown. The hospital gown was drifting up a little bit, and I kind of see it. And that's what kind of clued me in, like, oh man, dude, I was in the hospital. What's going on with this? As I was checking him out, he had one of his arms kind of around these, I thought it was a rock at first, and then as I looked closer, I could see that they were in sections, and there was like 6, maybe 8 different sections, and they looked like, stone rock tablets. I knew at that point who the guy was. I knew. I didn't have to have him tell me his name or anything. I knew it had to be Moses. I'm standing in front of a man who was sitting on the edge of some rocks. The whole image of that man is just engraved or emblazed in my brain, in my mind. When I first got there, I thought, holy crap. I knew it had to be Moses. As I looked at this man sitting on the edge, he was no more than 5 feet from me. And then I felt this warmth on my back left shoulder. That's what I felt. I had somebody's hand on my shoulder. Then as I started to look over my shoulder, Moses clapped his hands together to get my attention. I snapped right back to the guy. When he did that, I said, oh, okay. He told me, I am, do not cast your eyes upon I am. I remember him saying that. Excuse me. To me, it's still, I'm a pretty tough guy, but to go through what this man had told me was just incredible. Do not turn and cast your eyes upon I am. You don't gaze upon him, the Almighty. He was referring to God. I think it was the Almighty himself on my shoulder.
There was really nothing they could do for him at that point. All the internal medicine specialist had told me there was no hope. That hospital bed became his coffin.
I felt this warmth on my back, the Almighty himself on my shoulder. When I was standing talking to, I'm going to just say, he was Moses. He had to be. I got my attention focused on these tablets. He's telling me that our world today is in dire straits is because we do not follow the whole commandment itself from God himself. I basically asked, okay, I'm just one person. What can I do? He just kind of laid it out that you'll find a way. You'll find a way to express this. That's the last thing I remember talking to him. And then I remember this feeling of the hand on my shoulder, if you want to call it that, was gone. In a blink of an instant, I remember not being so cold.
They could only keep him medically induced for so long. I would have to decide on whether to turn off the machines. I had gotten all the family together and I had told them there was no hope for him. There was clinically no hope for him. At that point, there was no hope for him. There was clinically no hope for him. He was still the same, still on 100% oxygen. And that was my decision right there, to either wait and see how it played out or turn it off. Miraculously, they started to reduce the oxygen and he came back. It was like watching a flower bloom is the best way I could describe it.
I can remember waking up and one of my daughters was feeding me ice or trying to talk to me, get me to become awake. There were just so many people in the waiting room in the ICU to say last goodbyes. When you make an impact, shoot. And they show up No, especially after undergoing all this. Yeah, I mean, it's overwhelming. It really is. I knew I had gone somewhere. I knew that I was somewhere else. When I think about this experience, it's just overwhelming to me. I mean, still to this day, 3 years later, I think I've become a lot more in tune with certain things. You know, a lot more. I get a little more sentimental than I ever did my entire life. I'm not afraid to die. It's inevitable. We're all going to die at some point in our life. It wasn't my time. I mean, it just was not my time.